Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Great Gibraltar Draft with Hound Dogs. Now, today we've got lots of stuff to talk to you about. There's been ups, there's been downs, there's some exciting stuff, there's some not so exciting stuff. So, let's jump into it. Before we do, though, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you get more of this and more of Wonder Kid Watch and all that other stuff, please. Thanks. Appreciate it. With that said, though, let's take a look at the transfers we've made. So, obviously, the transfer window's been through. We were blocked in the first window. We had a lot of wages to spend. We still got a lot, but we've brought in, or will be bringing in, a lot of players, and we have already brought in a lot of players. So, to start with, I probably won't go through every single one of these players now because these will be the guys that will be coming in the summer. All on free contracts, basically, at the end of their contract. So I'm looking forward to that. There's some names in there that you might be able to see. If you can't see them, I'll be showing you them at the end of the season, at the beginning of next year. So they'll be, you also get to see them. But there are a few that we can take a look at now. Let's take a look at the transfer. No. Where are we going? Transfer history. Here we go. So, I mean, money's been spent. Lots of stuff has happened. And it's all very exciting. So, first, let's show you a couple of the outgoings. Obviously, lots of players have been wanting to leave. Most of the original players. Now, Ismail El Mansouri has left. He's gone to Villarrubia. Wasn't ever going to get into the side. He wasn't going to develop well enough. So, I let him go on a free because fair enough. Newport County came in for £21,000 for Fran Davis. He's gone now, so he's left to go to England. And along with that as well, Matthew Draper has also gone to Cambridge United. Again, got a little bit of money for him. It wasn't too much of an issue. They were both leaving on free transfers at the end of the season. So I just sold them now because we've brought in a shed load of players. So we're going to run through these as quickly as we can. First up is Giles Johannes, 18-year-old from NAC Breda. Nothing spectacular, but again, a player that we brought in just to kind of fill out the squad below. The cat has decided to come up. Sorry, cat, you have to leave. You can't be up here whilst I'm trying to show everyone all these great players we've signed. Next up, we've got Sebastian Langkamp. He's a player from Werder Bremen. I think we actually signed him for, but he was on loan. Oh, no, was it? Well, I think he was free, actually. He was a free agent, originally at Perth. And Werder Bremen before that. But he's come in, so he's an experienced 34-year-old centre-back. We needed another centre-back, because we've had issues with Dede and Andre Wisdom both being out suspended a couple of times already. So I think it was important to get someone else in. He's come in, and he looks very, very good, very solid. Not the quickest, but that's fine. Anfen Hamada has come in for £155,000, so probably the biggest amount of money we've actually spent. He's coming from PSG, bit of experience, Comoran International, just a bit of excitement, you know. I got a bit excited with a lot of this. I've got a bit excited, I think. Fares Dangois is a under-20 Moroccan international. He's 18 years old from AS Monaco. He came in on a free as well. Again, nothing spectacular, but again, he's just... Look, most of these aren't necessarily that good, I'll be honest, but... we're bringing them in because I got excited and we've got loads of money, so I'm going to do it. So we've got Fares there. After that, we've also brought in Donny Vermadam. He's come in from Ajax. He's played a lot of games for Ajax second team, and he's in the first team now for us. He looks a little bit better with some more mental stats that are good. 20 years old, that one. Louis Annesley, we brought in from Blackburn, or Woking, actually, I think is officially who he was playing for now. But he's Gibraltar, 18 international caps. Got a bit of potential. 21 years old, and I thought, well, we need to have some Gibraltars in the team. We are in Gibraltar after all. Don't want to wreck the boys anyway. Denis Katovic is another one, Bosnian player, can play right back or left back or even centre midfield, attacking midfield. He's come in from Esbjerg on a free. We've also brought in Marcus Lindberg, a Danish man, 21 years old, again an attacker, again bringing him in. I mean, a lot of these players may one day play for Gibraltar, so that's also what I'm looking at. Ibrahima Traore is a veteran of the game, played for Borussia Mönchengladbach most recently, but a lot of A lot of teams in Germany he's played for. A bit of pace. 33 years old, lots of international experience. So hoping he can kind of do the business for us. Terence Bayer is a fullback that we've brought in. He looks, I'm pretty happy with this one. 24 years old, and not necessarily incredible, but I think if he gets international citizenship, he could definitely be in the Gibraltar team. We've also brought in Hannes Dor Halderson, the Icelandic goalkeeper, very experienced internationally. He's also a goalkeeper coach for us, so that's someone we've brought in there as well, and as well as a backup goalkeeper along with that. So that's obviously great. 2 for the price of 1, basically. Robert Snodgrass is another player on a free transfer that we've brought in. Can basically play anywhere up top. We've been playing him as a centre midfielder recently because he's not really got the pace to be out wide, but I think he's got some good stats inside to kind of dictate the game at 34 years old. Daniel Thorgerson as well is another one who we brought in at left back again. Lots of potential on him, 22 years old. And again, another player that maybe could play for Gibraltar in the future if he's not brought up by Denmark. So, yeah, there is plenty more where that came from, and there will be plenty more of that in the next episode when we, or in the season. It'll be 2 episodes probably, thinking about it, because we're actually only here. But you can see there, before we do jump into that, I need to show you how we got on before we get into the Magpies game. So let's take a look at how we did in the last few games since our meeting with Lincoln. So following our 4-0 defeat to Lincoln, things have just got worse and worse for us. We've followed that game up with a game against Glasgow United, where unfortunately we lost 3-2. They took an early lead from a free kick being played in by Larson to find Mbia. We did manage to level things up with Bareback getting a goal, and we even took the lead in the first half, only a few minutes later as well, managing to get a second with Bareback laying it off to Emerson Boyce, who's coming in at right back. Faded into Calderon, who found my heel. But we've, like I say, we've had a lot of issues with the defensive side of things, with Dede and Andre Wisdom both being out, and we've been really having to try and sort things out with fullbacks and that sort of thing, where the real issues have been. Nigel Hasselbank got played through to level things up at 2-2 in the first half. And just before half-time, they won the game at 3-2. Sebastian Larson received it in the middle, finding Hasselbank and played it through to Borghi for 3-2 and winning the 3 points. That poor run of form continued as we lost 4-0 to Man 62. We did have a sending off, which didn't help at all. But Solomon Kalou got played through initially, slotting it past the keeper to make it 1-0. As we come out of that, that's not great. Let's go and watch that again. So our poor form continued with a 4-0 loss to Man 62. We did have a sending off, which didn't help, but Solomon Kalou got played through by Hunt to get an early goal to really cause issues for us. For all the goals, we did have 11 men on the pitch, though, which is something for sure. Hunt made a very similar ball over the top. This time, Doumbia was on the end of it to slot it past the keeper for 2-0. And again, to make it 3 just before half-time, Kayamo played in Hunt, who managed to find Brian this time, who popped it through for Kalou. And again, a little dink over the keeper was lovely. But it did mean we were 3-0 down at half-time. Following that, their fourth and wrapped things up with Fabio Coentrao receiving the ball out wide, who played through Kalou once again, who was able to fire it into the bottom right-hand corner for 4-0. Now it was Europa's turn to beat us 3-1 in this game, really early on once again for them to score. Shane Long with the header from a no-no cross initially. That led to the second half coming round, and around the hour mark, it was them again to get a second goal of the game. Kone playing it through to Juanpi, who slotted it past the keeper, and they did get a third before we were even able to retaliate with a goal ourselves, as the ball was cleared defensively, a long ball forward, and Ibrahima Kone was through on goal, and all he had to do was slot it past the keeper, and he did that easily. Defensively, it's been absolutely shocking. We did manage to get a goal this time round, though. Snodgrass playing one of his first games for the club, finding Pella, who found Calderon with a 1-2, and Pella was able to slot it home for 3-1. So a little surprising, this one, a 4-0 loss to St Joseph's. And in this one, we actually had a full defensive line back. And you wouldn't have thought it, with initially David Haro, but it looks like a hero. For St Joseph, he certainly was with the first goal. Morton Gamps Pedersen scoring from the spot in the second half for number 2. Not long after that, they got a third with Subotic looking to win the header initially from the corner. He did win it, but had to lay it off to David Harrow for a second attempt where there was a 3-0 lead. And then finally, another from a corner. This time it was Winston Reid with the header for 4-0. Finally, we stopped the rut and we were able to get a 2-1 win against Europa 75. Initially, it was a goal from Bareback to get the lead, so a fantastic one there. A little dink over the keeper. And then a second one where Pella was able to receive the ball, again finding Bareback. A little bit of play on the edge of the box. Traore's ball into the middle, where Bareback was free for his second of the game. And then College did manage to get one back for 2-1, but we did manage to get that 3 points. We did have a change of formation this game, so I think that was definitely something that maybe contributed, and we'll be playing that again in today's. So as I mentioned, we have been playing with a different formation. We've been playing with a 4-4-2 wing play. Target man Pella, Bareback up top. That's kind of the situation we've been finding ourselves in. We've got a lot of players now, as you're fully aware, because I showed you all the transfers we've made, which is quite a lot already. But this is probably the team we'll go for in today's game, as it's kind of what we went for in the last one. I don't think there's any real reason to change it, as we've got a bit of form now. So we will leave it like this, but we have got a few players on the bench that can maybe come on and help us out with things. But let's jump straight into it. 4-4-2 wing play. It's kind of the thought process that we've got a big man up top in Graziano Pella. We've got to make the most of him being up there and use his height and his ability on the ball to receive things. And I mean, he's very good at finishing as well. And Bareback's got a bit of pace on him, so there's no reason why he can't be that player that's buzzing around Graziano. And should be able to pick up any pieces. But it's going to be a tough one. Magpies, a good team still. Blackman, one of the players that they've brought in as part of the draft. Zuzak as well. So they've got a few very, very good players. Carboni on the edge of the box, long range effort, and he does score. So it's great start. 16 minutes in, and they've already scored from the edge of the box. We've had the board already talk to us about our form. Going that 5 or 6 game run, losing. They weren't impressed, I'll be honest, with kind of everything that's happening. But we aren't the only people to be being eyed up about our performances. So I think wow, there you go. Great response, though. Andre Wisdom with a cross into the box, and Bareback's the one to get the header to tuck it away into the bottom right-hand corner for the goal. We level things up not long after we actually conceded, so that's very good response there. Snodgrass back to Andre Wisdom, and Bareback was able to track backwards to get that header on target and pop it into the bottom right-hand corner. Obviously, Magpies are just below us in the table, so it is a very important game for us to win if we do want to get into the top 4. I'd still like to. I think we've still got a chance to. There's every reason why we can. But it will be, it's still challenging. It's still going to be a bit of a tough one for us to manage. Zuzak with a corner though, comes in. Jagielka goes up for it. Joe's there, but headed clear by Bareback. But it looks like Graziano Pella's nowhere near that ball to be able to get onto the end of it. As it looks like Magpies will come forward once again. Phil Jagielka out wide to Blackman, who's looking to come down this right-hand side. He cuts back inside, finds Gaborni, but Williams is there to cut it out. Shabalala playing a couple of 1-2s. Lenkamp, long ball forward. I mean, you're not finding anyone with that ball, mate. Come on, sort yourself out. Carboni with receiving the ball. Zuzak's buzzing around him. Pipe this time receiving it. Looks for the overlap on the left-hand side for Cavanda, who looks to be playing slightly out of position, but I mean, he has played left-back before. And it seems to have worked, as Nick Blackman's played in by Leonardo Carboni, and he pops it past the keeper this time for 2-1. 35 minutes gone. We've got 10 minutes till half-time, where we might have to look to make some changes, but it's not great so far, I'll be honest. I'll be brutally honest. It's not fantastic. We're sitting in 6th, which isn't a bad place. We're like mid-table, which considering Hound Dogs are officially a team that got brought up a division to be in this league, I think that's okay. But yeah, Robert Snodgrass hasn't been great at all. So I think we will take him off. Put Calderon on, and Traore will go over the right-hand side. Pella's the other player that's not been great. In fact, we will bring on Jesse Munilau, and what I think we will do is pop him just behind in a shadow striker role. So he's very much supporting, and we'll go a bit more positive with it as well and see if we can get something out of this game, which I'm hoping we can. They're a good side, undoubtedly so. As we can see, they're right in and around us where we are in the league. But, I mean, we were good form for it in the first... Oh, and there it goes. Langamp has given away a penalty, and it's a yellow card for him, as Magpies could take a 2-goal lead in the first 5 minutes of the second half. Would not be ideal with Jujak stepping up here. Can Diego Alves do something here? I mean, that is a great penalty. He's never stopping that one as it gets slotted into the top left-hand corner. Balas Jujak with his 5th goal of the season. Yeah, very crucial to their style of play. Everything seems to be going through him so far. And that's probably the real issue we've got, is that we've really not shown up at all today. Even with the goal we scored, we probably got a bit lucky, as again they come forward 63rd minute. I'm going to really have to look at tactically what kind of route we can go down, because things haven't been going great. Munalau with a challenge. I mean, it's an awful challenge as Blackman gets past him. He tucks it back to Pai. He's going to look to play it back to Blackman, undoubtedly so. Plays it into the near post, hits the post, but he was offside, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. Poor from the boys so far, and they've been very dominant. I mean, what is that? We didn't even see the whole move, but yeah. Anyway, Bayer managed to get onto it. Munalau receives the ball from Shabalala's through ball, and he hits the post. Of course it does. Munalau coming on. I mean, he's been very good for us this season, and he's been kind of pushed to the back a little bit, but by the bigger name players. But he's very, very good still. Shabalala not quite able to get onto that ball that's been played across to him as Williams receives it. Then Shabalala again, who looks round the corner to Bayer on the left-hand side. Can he get a ball into the box? He certainly can. Mulalau's up for the header as Artur Buruk takes that in his grasp very, very comfortably in the end. Magpies are coming forward once again. Can they get a fourth goal to increase their lead even more? I think we'll bring on Armada in the box-to-box role. Shabalala can come off as he's looking a bit jaded, and we might as well bring on a couple of the new boys. Obviously, I'll be honest, I think it will take maybe 2 years before we'll get anywhere because of the amount of players I've signed in the January window. Not only who are already at the club, but the boys that are coming in at the end of the season. I think that'll be very, very interesting. Shabalala with a long-range effort. Buruk with a fantastic save to match it as Calderon gets onto this. Is he going to look back? He does. It's not a great pass, but Bayer does get to it. As the highlight ends. But yeah, like I was saying, I think it will take a little while for the boys to kind of gel together and us to really figure out how we want to play and what players are best where. Because I think we're a bit all over the place at the moment, especially this season, and maybe even next season will be a kind of testing year. So hopefully the ball will give us that time to kind of see where we're at with things. As Blackman comes in on his left foot, this time wide of the goal. But yeah, there is plenty of players that will be coming in at the end of the season, and I'm sure there will probably be some more that I'll be looking to bring in, because why not? This first year, we could splash the cash, really go for it, get loads of players in, kind of see how we want to play, what our kind of identity is, because I think that's the big thing, is that Hound Dogs haven't been around for very long. They've only been around since 1949, so that is a lot longer than I thought they were. I thought they were a thousands club. But they're a small club. They haven't won any trophies. So I want to give them a bit of an identity and see what we can do with that. So that is something we're going to have to try and work on as the kind of time passes, and hopefully improve on our performances, really, because things haven't been going great for us recently. But there you go. We are sitting there. We'll probably come back at the end of the season against Lincoln to kind of get our final standings in the league, see where we're at. But there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, I will see you in the next one.